All right, go for it.
Good morning, everyone, and aloha snack bar to all of you. It's the one, the only V, the guerrilla economist. I was going to say the senor economist, but I was getting all screwed up because my dark roast is not fully percolating through my veins yet, CJ. It's not fully percolating through the blood. With that being said, folks, I am with the master of the flux capacitor, the producer par excellence, CJ, and we are rolling and rocking, and we are giving you all the news, the views, and all the information important to you. Check us out, roguemoney.net, as well as Rogue Money on our Facebook page. Follow us on Twitter at The Rogue Money, and every single podcasting app known to mankind on every single platform. I don't care if you got smartphones or you got an Xbox One or a PS4. You can find us there as well. Heck with it. With that being said, also, guys, check out our sponsors, myfreedomnow.us, myfreedomnow.us. Do you need a better credit score? Do you need to get out of debt? Do you need to kick the collectors and the bankers in the nuts? And call myfreedomnow.us, myfreedomnow.us. Maybe you don't need any of that. Maybe you just need money. Who wouldn't like more money? Well, you can learn how to get $600,000 unsecured with their network of 335 lenders. That's a lot of lenders. 335 lenders. MyFreedomNow.us. And also check out mygoldusb.com. Mygoldusb.com. Check those guys out. You can surf the deep web in total anonymity. The only way the NSA is going to find out what the heck you're doing is if they're actually sitting next to you looking at your screen. 1024-bit military-grade encryption will do that for you. You are absolutely like Edward Snowden, except your graphical and user interface looks a lot prettier. With that being said, CJ, what's crack-a-lackin'?
Hey, good morning, V. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm allowing the Sumatra roast to permeate within my bloodstream, and I'm still digesting, so to speak, of this lavish, incredibly rich Colombian meal I had last night. It was incredible, CJ. It was truly epic proportions.
It made me wish that I had skipped breakfast and went straight to dinner, V.
Bro, I'm still full. I'm still full. I had something called which is like the typical plate that they give in Colombia. Now, if you guys haven't had Colombian food, please go have Colombian food. It's freaking amazing. There's some good spots here in New York, and in Jersey as well. I discovered this new spot near me. Phenomenal. I mean, man, I had a plate of rice. They put eggs over easy on that bad boy, right? Fried it up, realized eggs over easy, and then a little bit of runny yolk, right? Then a delicious side of beans. This is all one plate, folks. Delicious side of the most seasoned aromatic beans you've ever had. Red beans, I think it was. Then they gave you a deliciously marinated in cilantro and garlic skirt steak that was so soft and succulent and cooked to perfection with a nice sear on it. Okay. Then they gave you a strip of pork belly, which is probably about, I don't know, 11 inches long, cut in sections, but yet still attached to the underlying skin. So that pork belly is right there. It's crisp to perfection. Okay. Then they give you two of these sweetened plantains, these Maduros, named after Nicholas, the bus driver Maduro in Venezuela. Okay. And the little piece of seasoned polenta. That is one dish. I was in heaven. Heaven, CJ. Heaven. It was incredible. Incredible. I'm still full from last night, bro. I was in a food coma. I ate that up out.
You got me thinking, man. We need to start a food network channel, V.
We need to.
We can fly around, the globe.
We can call it. We can call it V and CJ Eats the World.
There we go. Let's do it.
We'll do it. You know. Of course, my face will be pixelated the whole entire time. Okay. Is he eating that or what's going on? Oh man. So what's going on with you, man?
Well, we were probably one of the first to discuss it, V, and a few weeks back in regards to this whole indictment of Awan, the former IT staffer of Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah.
And now there's some more interesting information coming out, just a lot of inconsistencies, irregularities regarding.
Hold on with that, see, just so that people don't jump down our throats. When we say we're the first, we were really, cracking it out there. But we give all credit to George Webb. Supposedly, some guy named George Webb has been investigating this for 2 years. We never heard of him. Don't even know him. I never even heard of him before. CJ's never heard of him, so we had no idea what George Webb was doing. Some guy named George Webb who was looking at this. So apart from George Webb, we were the first to crack this. Go ahead, CJ.
More importantly, as far as the actual indictment, when we started taking a look at the charges that were coming down, and just how quickly they were coming down on Awan, and when we started looking at it, we're like, wait a minute, where's the information in regards to the data? Where was the data going? Why was he destroying all these computers? Why did he have all these hard drives? And when you look through all the charges, it all stems from, basically him defrauding, loan institutions with false information, him potentially sending all this money back to Pakistan, where his wife has already fled. And you start to take a look now at this specific court that was assigned this case, and you start to ask yourselves, okay, wait a minute here. Debbie Wasserman Schultz's brother is a deputy attorney in this court.
No conflict of interest.
No conflict of interest. It was assigned outside of jurisdiction as far as the actual proper court that should have prosecuted. And then the fact that there was no press release, there was no big announcements, no release. And it set up a perfect scenario now where this allowed the courts, working through the courts, the DNC has pretty much been able to kind of almost sweep this under the rug and allow Debbie Wasserman Schultz to escape unscathed regarding everything that transpired with the DNC, the DNC hack, the amount of information that Awan was getting. And very well, as far as the number of people in Congress, as well as some key important Security Council members, the information he was obtaining, that's a lot of data that possibly could have been sold. I think what the indictment was just scratched the surface of truly what should have came about. Further indictment charges, further investigation of Awan and the criminality of him with the DNC.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a peculiar thing about the Justice Department's indictment of Imran and Hina Alvi, the alleged fraudster couple who doubled as IT whizzes for the idiot Debbie Wasserman Schultz and the moronic DNC criminal underground, and many other Democrats. There's not a word of it about a flight to Pakistan. The indictment undertakes to describe in detail 4 counts of bank fraud conspiracy, false statements on credit applications, and unlawful monetary transactions. Yet, it totally leaves out the most damning evidence of guilt. In fact, the indictment, it literally appears to go out of its way, CJ, as this article is stating, not to even mention it.
Right.
And that's what's weird. And that's why we had Andrew McCarthy III, the former assistant U.S. attorney for the Southern District Court of New York, which is right here, who led the prosecution on Sheikh Omar Abdul Rahman, and 11 others on the 93 Trade Center bombing. And I remember that day. And Andrew McCarthy III said there's something very strange about the recent indictment filed against Imran Awan and his wife, Hina Alvi. And see, you're right, dude. This is going on too fast and furious. Are they trying to hit him with these petty fraudster charges and then throw the book at him so he just goes away into jail? And then when he's in jail, conveniently somebody shanks him? Huh? Could that be it?
Right.
Again, this is stuff that you and I are pulling, and guys like George Webb have been pulling for 2 years. This is stuff the idiotic administration could be pulling right now. Bring to pressure. I'm going back on my bandwagon, CJ, where I would say it's not 3D chess. It's 1D Connect 4. That's what's happening. It's 1D Connect 4. right? So again, I mean,
Right.
Siege, oh my God, we would have a field day with this.
A field day, and then to take a look at, ask the questions is, why in particular. He's definitely a flight risk, right? He was already trying to
1000%.
get aboard and flight. And then you take a look at his wife, and she had already fled, the United States, and the FBI allowed her to do so. She was seized, and this is coming from this article. She was seized by U.S. Customs and Border agents in part because she was carrying undeclared $12,400 in cash.
Right.
And under law, it's a felony to move more than $10,000 in currency out of the country, unless obviously you have a government report, everything that's filed with it. Despite all this, despite them contacting the FBI to say, hey, is there anything going on here? Despite the fact there was an investigation already under place, she was allowed to leave the United States. All these things that occurred to me just expose the amount of corruption that's established between the courts, between the FBI. All these things that occurred, and now you also have Debbie Wasserman Schultz through all of this kept Awan on her payroll. Now she was specifically asked about this yesterday, and guess what her statement was, V?
What?
Her direct statement was this: that the charges that he was prosecuted for, are completely unrelated to anything of his services with the DNC. So right there, they've already established the narrative.
Unbelievable.
So now when she gets asked about it, she has a scapegoat. She has, well, the prosecution charges, there was nothing related to his work with the DNC. So why question it?
I'm done. I'm so. How about somebody goes down to Wasserman Schultz's place, grab the bitch by their ankles and hold her upside down and threaten her life until she spills the beans? I mean, seriously. This is the type of stuff that gets me absolutely pissed off, Siege, because they're all working. See, the justice system doesn't work. And I think tens of millions of Americans understand, maybe even hundreds of millions at this point, CJ, understand the justice system does not work. Okay? It is the just us system. Okay? It's just them. It's just those, the us represents those elites at the top who make all the rules. They're exempt from anything. Okay? Rules are meant for a section. That's why I advocate. Okay, I am a big, strong proponent in entrepreneurship. I'm a big, strong proponent in that you need to develop your own hustle, your own game, your own grind, because you're getting played. If you're a middle-class person in the United States, you're following all the rules, and you're making sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You deserve what you're going to get, which is nothing. Okay? You better figure out real quick, because everybody's hustling you. The wealthy are hustling you. The poor are hustling you. You're getting hustled by the wealthy from the top. You're getting hustled by the poor from the bottom. So wake up, middle class. Wake up. Start getting smart. Start getting educated. Figure out how the game works. Hey, shoot me an email. I'll tell you how to play it. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the whole thing is, Siege, here it is. Why did the U.S. Attorney's Office, how come they didn't? This is national news for weeks now, Siege, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they didn't even bother filing a press release?
No. Nothing.
Be like, hey, you know what? This is national news everywhere. Maybe we should file a press release. I mean, this has been all over. We've been talking about a zero hedge. People on the alt news talk circuit, freaking picked up by Fox News, MSLSD, CNN. This is mainstream crap, mainstream news. Okay, but not once did the attorney's office say, "Hey, you know what? Maybe we should file a press release because this is garnering national attention." And why again? And then they go ahead and they file this. See, just like you said, they filed this case where Debbie Wasserman Schultz's brother is an assistant U.S. attorney for God knows how long. Unbelievable.
Nothing to see there, V. Nothing, I mean, I'm sure that was just, coincidence.
Yeah, it's all coincidence that and the funniest thing is how narrow the charges are. They didn't bring account why were there. This guy is an IT guy. Is corrupt. He had thousands of hardware. He spent most of his time outside of America. He was in Pakistan the duration of his time. Yeah, 6 months out of the year, 6 to 9 months out of the year. He had all the congressional emails go to an off-site server. Again, this is turning out to be like a Hillary Clinton server in the bathroom type thing. And nobody goes to jail. So we're going to get Imran on some narrow not narrow charges of financial fraud. Financial fraud.
Right.
Four counts. Four
Yep.
counts of financial fraud. Nobody else is going to be mentioned in this suit. Nothing else is going to be mentioned. Just these four things. This guy's a criminal intelligence asset to what foreign government? I'm thinking Pakistani ISI. God knows who else. Okay? And he skates. He's probably going to get whacked and he's going to get shanked in prison and die. Wasserman Schultz lives to fight another day. and then the Trump White House is in turmoil because it doesn't know what to do. It doesn't know what to do.
V, and it's time after time with these courts. I mean, we witnessed the same thing with, Jeffrey Epstein with his charges of solicitation.
Is he out of
Solicitation, and then he gets to go work his job and live a normal life. I mean, these courts, time after time again, allow these criminals, the criminal banksters, time after time again to walk. V.
Is he out of jail, man? Epstein?
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
What's his address? Give me his address. I'm gonna pay this guy a visit.
I'm not sure if he's still in Florida or not.
I don't know where he is. If I see that dude in the street, dude, I will literally pick him up by his legs and slam him right through a wall. I will bounce his head off a concrete, Siege. Disgusting piece of filth.
Anyway, interesting. We'll see where the story goes. We'll see if it gets picked up anywhere else in regards to the cover charges against the Awan family.
Yeah, it must be nice. 4 counts of financial fraud for $300,000. How many years did that get you? Like 5, maybe 3?
Probably
2 years. I'm sorry, 2 years. I mean, you could defraud the IRS for tens of millions and go to jail for like 2.5 years. So this is a joke.
Yeah, in-house arrest. Yep. Mm-hmm.
House arrest. Bunch of crap. Anyway, this is you're looking at the latest again. Russia's warning the U.S. over Afghanistan. And this is exactly what Exceptional Stan does, man. Exceptional Stan thinks it's so damn exceptional that you're going to go in and do whatever, and we're going to go into Afghanistan. And for all those people that think that, well, everything's going to be okay because Trump didn't mention any troop numbers, you're gravely mistaken into the operation of the deep state. The fact that he didn't mention any troop numbers does not mean he's not going to be sending troops. Troops are going to go in. This operation, for all those that don't know already, has already been green-lighted. Things are already moving. The buildup is happening as you're hearing my voice. Operation's been green-lighted. There are planes right now flying out of Air National Guard bases, flying out of Air Force bases right now, C-17 Globemasters and whatnot, that are heading towards Afghanistan. Okay, this is happening now. There's no stopping this. Now, Russia's warning us on this. Russia has hinted in the past that the United States is covertly sponsoring the Islamic State in Afghanistan. I'm going to have to learn how to speak Russian. I think I'm going to move, Siege.
Where's James when we need him?
Where's James? On Thursday, Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson raised the bar by alleging that foreign fighters who were transferred by, quote, unknown helicopters have perpetrated a massacre of Hazara Shias in the Shar Upol province in northern Afghanistan, the spokesperson said. Listen to this, man. So on Thursday, the Russian Foreign Ministry spokesperson raised the bar by alleging that foreign fighters, aka USIS, were transferred by an unknown helicopter. Now, you and I know that freaking Taliban and ISIS don't got helicopters. They don't know how to fly. The only thing they know how to do is they're very bad at it. They're very bad at shooting guns. They only know how to do is shoot guns, drink tea, and screw goats. That's what they're good at, and cutting off heads. Okay, I'm serious. I'm thinking about going to Afghanistan and starting a goat brothel with comfort goats, I'll call them. You know, they're into that kind of stuff over there. Comfort goats. You know, this is Sheila, the comfort goat. Here you go. It's just crazy. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please Google Apache gunship and video, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, the Russian Foreign Ministry said that we can see attempts to stir up ethnic conflict in the country. Again, folks, let's pause there for a second. Again, before the official arrival of Exceptional Stand. See, Exceptional Stand likes to announce its arrival by first creating chaos. Okay? That's what Exceptional Stand does. And usually this chaos is some sort of ethnic cleansing, a genocide, if you will, or some sort of a quote-unquote civil war, right? So you have American covert deep state operations helicopters flying in foreign fighters, aka ISIS, going to a Hazari region. And it's a known fact the Pashtuns and the Hazari don't like each other. The Hazaris are genetically, from the Mongol race of people. They're very Asian in their appearance. Okay, the Pashtuns are very closely related to, what you see, the Turkmen, the Tajiks, and even some Persians. There's some relation there as well. Pashtuns don't like them. So already, somebody mysteriously goes there in helicopters, because these idiots can't fly. They can barely drive. They go there and they kill these people to create civil strife. There's evidence on August the 8th, 4 helicopters made flights from the airbase of the Afghan National Army's 209th Corps of Mazar-e-Sharif to the area captured by the militants in Akka district in Jawaz province. It is noteworthy that witnesses of these flights began to fall off the radar of law enforcement agencies. It seems that the command of the quote-unquote NATO forces controlling the Afghan sky stubbornly refuses to notice these incidents. From the above, it appears that sections of the Afghan armed forces and NATO command, which controls the Afghan airspace. In other words, you cannot take off a helicopter without NATO, which translates to AKA the United States, knowing about it. Okay? In other words, the U.S. is involved, hand in glove, okay, in these covert operations. There's no doubt there's a very serious allegation. The attack on the Hazara Shias must be taken as a message intended for Tehran. Historically and culturally, Iran has affinities with the Hazara Shia. Why? Because, the Hazaras are Shia, the Iranians are Shia. Okay, so they're connected. Community in Afghanistan, possibly the Trump administration, which has vowed to overthrow the Iranian regime. Oh, God. I feel bile building up in my throat, CJ. Is opening a second front by the IS, by the Islamic State, against Iran from the east. Interestingly, Russian Foreign Ministry also issued a statement on Friday on the alarming drug situation in Afghanistan. Now listen to this. Oh, you people that say, he didn't say anything specific. He didn't say troop numbers. He didn't do this. He was very vague. Here's what's happening. As I'm talking to you, okay, as I'm talking to you right now, ask yourself a question. Is this going to increase or decrease? Right? Is this going to increase or decrease? Number one, what we've seen is a sharp increase in drug production is expected in Afghanistan this year. What did I tweet out as soon as that announcement that Trump gave that, we're going to go back into Afghanistan? What did I say? I said opium production just jumped 10%. Didn't I just say that? I tweeted that out. Go back and look at my Twitter. Sharp increase in drug production is expected in Afghanistan this year, and 1/3 of the country's population is now involved in cultivation of opium poppy. Think about that, CJ. 1/3 of the country's population is involved in cultivation.
Isn't that amazing?
That is wonderful.
Wow.
That's Exceptional Stand. Okay? This is why these deep state assholes need to get knocked off their high horse. And this is why we as a country, if we don't wake up and overthrow these guys that are quote unquote our leaders, we're screwed. We're screwed because then we're going to be partakers in the judgment that's going to be coming from them. We're going to be suffering because these idiots. Now, the geography of Afghan drug trafficking has expanded and now reaches the African continent. How wonderful. Tons of chemicals for processing narcotics are illegally imported into Afghanistan with, you ready for this, CJ?
Drop it.
Italy, France, and the Netherlands are among the main suppliers of the chemicals needed to create heroin. The US and NATO are either unwilling or incapable of curbing the illegal activity. Russia and Iran cannot turn a blind eye to the hostile activities by the US and NATO in their backyard, transforming the anti-Taliban war into a proxy war. They cannot but view the Afghan conflict through the prism of their deepening tensions with the US. What are Russia's options? Russian Minister Sergei Shoigu said at a meeting with top brass in Moscow on August the 18th that the Afghan conflict poses a threat to what? Central Asian stability. And what did yours truly tweet out when Trump made the announcement? This is against Iran to disrupt Iran and as well as the One Belt, One Road initiative, which happens to run through what? Central Asia. This threatens Central Asia's stability. And he said that Russia plans to hold joint military exercises later this year with Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. Russia has military bases in Tajikistan and Kyrgyzstan. Again, Ambassador Samir Kabolov, Russian presidential envoy to Afghanistan, said recently that if the Afghan government and the U.S. are unable to counter the IS threat, which they won't, the U.S. won't do jack crap because we've seen how tens of thousands of ISIS fighters were driving comfortably in their Toyota Hilux pickup trucks with their 50 cals in the back, waving the ISIS flags right through U.S. held territory in front of a U.S. military base, and nobody did nothing. It's wonderful. It's cute, CJ. It's really cute.
Yeah.
So if they are unable to counter the IS threat, Russia will resort to military force. You know what they're also trying to do? They're trying to create enough chaos in Afghanistan so that the Russians get entangled over there as well. They're trying to entangle Russia and Syria. Now they're trying to entangle Russia in the Ukraine. And they're trying to entangle Russia in a proxy war again in Afghanistan. Thank you, Deep State. And for all those who say that this is just innocuous words that Trump is speaking, it has no bearing. I'm done. I'm done. I laid it all out for all of you, what the geostrategic ramifications of all this are. This is a proxy war. This is what's happening. Next. What we got, Siege?
Well, it just, again, you wonder who is making these decisions, V. So as a show of appreciation for Russia and China voting unanimously to pass the sanctions against North Korea, our Treasury has decided to go ahead and slap sanctions on China and Russia, V.
Oh, of course.
Isn't that great?
That's wonderful. You know, Steve Mnuchin he just filmed his latest Lego movie, and I think it's Ninjago, which will be coming out soon. Steve Mnuchin's latest flick, and Red Scorpion Part 5. Tuesday, Steve Mnuchin's Treasury Department slapped a new set of sanctions on the Russian Chinese firms, allegedly for doing business with Pyongyang. That's despite a 15-0 vote on the Security Council earlier this month, which Beijing and Moscow made possible. This is why nobody likes us. This is why we're looked in the world as a bunch of troubled teenagers. Okay, we are literally looked at as idiots. Okay, and this effect is not going to do anything. It's going to have zero effect because these companies. You think these companies? They're like, we're going to sanction you, and when the Treasury sanctions a country, it's making sure that those countries or companies have zero access to the Fed wire, and that's how your funds typically get frozen. Because no matter if you're in Zimbabwe and you need to send money to Australia, well, when you wire it out, you're using SWIFT instructions, And all the SWIFT instructions has to go through the Fed wire. That's how money gets to Australia. Okay, it's just that simple. That's how it works. Okay, when the Treasury says, "Oh, we're going to sanction you," they're just cutting off your access to the Fed wire. Well, up yours, Mnuchin, and up yours, Treasury, and up yours, Deep State, and up yours, establishment. Because here's the deal. This is why years ago China has set up CIPS, the China Interpayment Systems, which is their alternative to SWIFT, which is being used hugely right now throughout the world. This is also why Russia set up their Double Eagle network, which integrates perfectly with CIPS and is their payment system bypassing SWIFT. So this, again, shows the emperor has no clothes. It's an empty freaking threat, and it's stupid.
Yeah, it just makes absolute. It's not going to impact anything, V. I mean, it's just ridiculous that they would do this in part, just after the Security Council vote, this UN Security Council vote on North Korea, and then for them to come back and say, well, you were helping supply some of the technology, some of the things needed for North Korea's missile system. So here's your sanctions.
Right.
And it's not going to impact anything. So geopolitically, it's like an absolute huge failure. Again, who was making these decisions, V?
Does this administration seem like they have any sort of control of anything these days? I mean, honestly, does it look like it now at this point?
No, it doesn't, and I don't want to hear some of the other news outlets that well, it's by design. Trump is sending in more troops into Afghanistan so that way we can get them out quicker. We can get them out with lightning speed.
So lightning speed. These idiots can't hold Kabul. These morons can't. Look, here's the deal, right? ISIS is trained by the U.S. Okay, all right. Let me go into the U.S. training versus Russian training. ISIS is trained by the U.S. Now, I want all of you all to take your little U.S. propaganda, take your Rambo movies, and take the, Mission Impossible and all the Chuck Norris flicks you've seen, and
Shoot, I was hoping you weren't going to say Chuck Norris. I like his movies.
I do. I'm a big fan of movies.
Keep going.
I love all those action movies, and take your SEAL Team 6 movies and all that bullshit and flush it down the toilet for 1 second. Empty your mind of this, okay? Let's look at it from a very analytical mind. This is why I keep saying I'm one of the few guys out there that always say this: Russia is militarily more superior. They're superior to us. They're a different type of soldier. They're a different type of soldier. You guys don't get what I'm saying. They're a different type of soldier. These guys, okay, these guys are tough as nails, and they're extremely effective in small numbers, okay? Story came out. You had about 12 Spetsnaz that held out and fought over 300 jihadis, and killed a great majority of them, 12 Spetsnazes, okay? It's a different breed of soldier. I'm not playing around when I say this. Now, ISIS is trained by the U.S. The Syrian Arab Army is trained by Russia, okay? And the Syrian resistance is trained by Russia. What do you see happening when the Syrian resistance and the Syrian army goes up against ISIS? They get the crap kicked out of them. Hezbollah is trained by the Russians, okay? Hezbollah is. They are trained using Russian tactics. What happened when Israeli Shayat 13 and Golan Sariyat, these special ops forces, as well as the Israeli IDF, went into Lebanon and Operation Cast Lead back in 2008? What happened? They got their crap kicked out of them. What does that tell you about effective training? And what does that idiot Paul Ryan see on the talk show circuits? He's like, well, we're going to wait them out. We're going to go there and we're idiot, they live there. What are you going to wait them out for? They live there.
No sense at all. Wow.
I'm done. And then I'm going to touch this article real quick. I'm just going to say this. ISIS is right now, all of them are concentrating and centering on El Desir, the one city there, because they're about to make their last stand. You heard it here first. They're about to make their last stand. And what's happening right now, there are millions, hundreds of thousands of Syrians are flooding back to Syria. Now, here's the $1,000,000 question to every dumbass American out there. If you have your head firmly shoved up your sphincter, here's a question for you. If Assad is killing his own people, why are hundreds of thousands of Syrians running back to him? Boom.
That's it. That's
Okay?
it. Boom.
All right, Siege. Now we can talk about Jared of Arabia. Go ahead.
No, I think that's a great point, V, and that's not coming from some type of Russian propaganda in regards to the amount of Syrians that are returning home. This is an international organization that's monitoring this. So, I think that they're probably getting close to 1 million Syrians have returned home. So that's a very valid question in regards to the propaganda that we've been told the last several years. So again, just shifting a little bit and talking around foreign policy, let's talk a little bit around Qatar, around the Saudis, and in part, what in the world is Ivanka and Jared? Why are they flying around the Middle East like a royal family that they're there to broker some big peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians? It's not going to work, V. I mean, if we Americans like you and I are questioning the skill set of Ivanka and Jared and why what they're doing there. What do you think that the Saudis are doing? What do you think other foreign governments are doing and their leaders asking, why is Trump sending these people? I mean, shoot, less than a year ago, Jared was trying to work with Qatar to get millions of dollars to help pay for his broker deal in New York. I mean, this is just pure stupidity to have these two flying around the country like there's some big giant think tank and they're going to solve all the world's problems, V.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's more disgusted. I don't know what I'm more disgusted by. These two idiot kids, and they're not idiots. They're good at what to do. Stick to real estate, guys. Stick to whatever business thing. When it comes to the geopolitical, when it comes to the geoeconomic, you guys don't know your elbows from your rear ends. Please shut the F up and go back to New York. Get the hell out of the White House. You guys are no good. You guys have no idea what you're doing. You're in over your head. You're freaking amateurs. Oh, with that out of the way, I don't know what sickens me more, CJ. I don't know what sickens me more. Watching this or watching Obama win the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't know what's worse.
Well, maybe they'll give Kushner one next, V. Maybe Kushner can go ahead and get in line and get his Nobel Peace Prize next. I mean, I think it's in the works.
Dude, Jared of Arabia, you nailed it. Jared of Arabia was asking $500 million for his stupid Fifth Avenue skyscraper, which is 666 Fifth Avenue, which he thought it was such a cute deal when he bought it. When he bought an empty white elephant, right about when the time that when real estate is going bust. And if those that don't know, high-end real estate in Manhattan is cratering right now. Cratering, 20% down on many high-end real estate properties that are in Manhattan. And this is why Jared Kushner, Jared of Arabia, is having a big problem. So here, what's Jared of Arabia doing now? Okay, he asks $500 million from Qatar for a stupid skyscraper. Okay, before the diplomatic crisis between Qatar and a host of other countries, according to the Intercept article on Monday. The account raises suspicions that Trump's foreign policy. Oh man, this is the problem when you have family involved, bro.
Yep, you're exactly right.
This kid, who has no connections with the Trump business except from the fact that he's married to Trump's daughter. This kid sought $500 million investment from Qatar for a New York skyscraper shortly before the diplomatic crisis in Qatar happened. So in other words, Kushner and Co., the company, his family's business, okay, that his dad is running from the shadows, right, has asked $500 million from Qatar. Now is raising suspicions that Trump's foreign policy is more related to family business interests. Citing unidentified sources that reportedly had knowledge of the proposed bailout, The Intercept reported that Kushner tried to shore up funding from Sheikh Hamad bin Jazim Al Thani, let's just call him HBJ for short, after the skyscraper's value plummeted from the real estate crisis of 2008. Kushner had bought the building in 2007 when he was 26 for $500 million out of his family's pocket and $1.3 billion in borrowed money. However, the real estate crisis forced Kushner to sell off a sizable chunk of the office space in the building as part of a financial package. But in order to pay back those who originally borrowed the money, you must have $1.3 billion by early. And see, we reported on this when we did our whole expose on
Dude, you broke
Jared
that
months
down.
ago.
Yes, yeah, you broke that down to it. Yeah, this is huge.
Anybody wants to understand who Kushner is, go to our channel and find the Jared Kushner exposed or unveiled report that that Siege and I did months ago, and it broke down this whole deal. So this guy, again, like I'm saying, this guy's got to come up with 1.3 billion by early next year because it's a balloon payment. Otherwise, he's going to default. If he can't find them some new scheme for refinancing and redeveloping the property, his business is over. After the election, investors appear to be willing to bail out Kushner's skyscraper fiasco. HBJ reportedly agreed to invest $500 million in the severely debt-ridden property as long as Kushner was able to raise the rest of the money, which he could do when he became a senior White House advisor, according to the Intercept article. So now Kushner is trying to play the role of Hillary Clinton, trying to get back-end deals. I'm done. I just can't. Go ahead, see. You finish this thing up. I'm getting pissed.
No, I mean it's exactly right. And then you saw where there's, if you continue in this article in regards to it, it looks like there was a Chinese company with its members ruling party that were willing to shore up 400 million in March,
Yep.
but they decided to back out in part, stating a conflict of interest, which exactly it is. So at this point, when the company exited the deal, so did the HBJ, the Qatar that was going to put their money in. So Kushner rolling into first quarter next year is in a heap of trouble financially. So is he utilizing the Middle East with some very influential families, Qatar, the UAE, his travels to try to broker deals for his family to avoid going belly up on this deal that obviously is failing? V.
Well, it's all part of the 4D chess that's being played, CJ. We just don't understand it. It's all 4D chess. When in reality, folks, it's really 1D Connect 4. It's really pretty plain to see. At this point, unless there's some divine intervention, unless God from heaven and the power of the Lord Jesus Christ intervenes in Washington, D.C., unless there's some divine action taking place here, for all intents and purposes, I will confidently say that Donald Trump is 100% completely contained. He's been neutralized. That's it. It's a sideshow, folks. It's a sideshow for the next 3 years. If he survives the next 3 years, which I think he will, but is he going to on this president, on what's been done so far and how he's been contained, is he going to be reelected? No, it'll be somebody else in 2020. That's it. That's the strategy. If they can't get him out, they can't impeach him. They'll just keep him stuck in the mud and nullified until 2020, where he gets ousted out in an election. That's it. Done. And they will make the same mistake twice, the deep state. They won't make the same mistake twice. I promise you that, folks. So here's the deal. Ball's on our court. What are we going to do about it? We're going to march on the city. Are we going to march? Are we going to get down to D.C. and start nabbing these guys, dragging them out by their ankles? I think that time's coming. Y'all better think quick. Plane's crashing. Y'all better think quick. This plane's coming down. All right? It was going into the rice paddy, but it's coming down hard now. Real hard. Y'all better think. I'm telling you, we have about 2.5 years, CJ?
Yep, that's right.
All right, 2.5 years. We all better get our act together. That's all I gotta say.
All right, so later on today at 1:00, it is Hump Day, and so Bix will be joining us. I just saw where he just had an interview released on X22 Spotlight, so it'll be interesting to see his take on that. Maybe he can share a little bit of information regarding that, and he always has a lot of great information. So tune right back to us at 1:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep. With that being said, folks, we are over and out.